What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay Money here. We got our guy Rob Veno with us, man. I love doing shows with this guy, man. Every Monday, it's always a great Monday as well, man. Rob Veno at Rob Veno Sports on Twitter. You can follow him over there at Wages Talk, my guys. As always, it's $9 Mondays. Rob, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, buddy. But I will say this: if you had seen my desk here in the office about 35 minutes ago before I did my first show of the day. Oh my God, Jay. 126 college basketball games. Dang. Are they serious with all this stuff? Are they trying to kill us here? It's it's that time of year. We do it because we love it. I don't want to make anybody think that we're feeling sorry for ourselves. We're looking to cash tickets, so we do this because we love it. But it's a crowded time of year, and we're all going to be real busy for the next 6 months for sure.
Exactly. I know I am, man. I know I am. Let's dive straight into it, my guy. It's all business here. Let's get straight to business here. First game up, we went over here to the streets of Charlotte here. We got the Hornets laying 3 points, Rob. As we're just talking off the air, it's always funny to me when they move a line on info that we already know. So, I mean, Bradley Beal, if you didn't know, he's been placed in health and safety protocol. So we knew that yesterday he wasn't going to be playing in this game. It was at 2.5. It's kind of went up to 3, maybe a little bit. Maybe it could be a little public money coming in. But what do you think about this one? Hornets laying 3 versus the Wizards here, Rob.
Yeah, I would like to get to the Hornets, Jay. I haven't yet. Last night Washington got down really big, came back, got close. I think that was more of a let up by Memphis than it was anything Washington did that would make me want to be on their side without Bradley Beal. They're a capable team, which kind of keeps me off. I mean, when Bradley Beal's out, just to really clarify what I'm saying is they have capable guys when Bradley Beal's out. And you and I both know, you mention it almost every Monday I'm on the show. I hear you mention it. When a star player is out, the other team just goes easy. And it happened again with Memphis yesterday. I'm not sure that Memphis, the type of team they are, young and, kind of a bottom feeder, I'm not sure that they're not the type of favorite to lax in this particular spot, but they do have some injury problems themselves, which kind of keeps me off. Like I said, I would have liked to get there. Don't know that I can, but if I had to play, somebody told me make a choice, I would probably choose Charlotte at home in this spot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, for me, it's Wizards or nothing for me in this one. I think the Hornets are going on a slide like we thought that they would, right? They started out real high, and now they're starting to lose people all over the place. LaMelo's still out. Who else out? So Gordon Hayward is out as well. I think that's huge. So they got Terry Rozier back, but now Hayward's out, and he's really been kind of like this pseudo point guard for him. Dennis Smith Jr., he's been playing well. I like the fact that he's back in the league here. Got him a starting role right now while the other 2 guards were out, but he turned his ankle last game as well. That was just a couple days ago. So and he didn't return. So be interested to see if Dennis Smith Jr. can play in this game. But they do have Terry Rozier back. I just feel like they're super thin at the guard position. They're also thin at the down low as well, because after Plumlee leaves, Nick Richards come in. Nick Richards probably should be starting there, but not sold on Plumlee whatsoever. It is a back-to-back for the Wizards here, but I do think that they could. This is a winnable game for the Wizards here. So if they look at it here, I wouldn't be surprised if they won. With this being a back-to-back, playing a tough game yesterday, Hornets have the rest advantage. I'd be looking at Wizards first half. That's the only way that me personally I would play this game, my guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Detroit here, Rob. We got the Pistons getting 2 points versus the Oklahoma City Thunder here. Line opened up as the Pistons are favored by 2. Has since flipped now to the Thunder here. Do you agree with the flip here?
I agree more with playing this total over, Jay.
Okay.
Detroit's become an over team this year, and based on personnel, right? I mean, obviously they've got a head coach who's more defensive minded than offensive minded, but you have to fit your scheme to your personnel. And right now, when they went out and got Jaden Ivey from Purdue and matched him up in the backcourt with Cade Cunningham, that's an extremely explosive athletic backcourt. And they played that way so far this year. I think the number on their totals is like 7-2 to the over, something in that vicinity. OKC, same thing, same deal, just a roster. Their rotation is crazy, right? Because we always look at their injury list, and somehow it doesn't seem to matter because they rotate another 22-year-old in that runs the floor, that may not be the best shooter, but is a decent scorer. And with Josh Giddey back, they're just, to me, that's a good offensive team right now. 223.5, I think, is kind of a value play. I think it's probably that price because of the reputation of the Pistons as not being a high-scoring team, as
Right.
the reputation of the Oklahoma City Thunder not being a good team. And I don't know how long these numbers are going to last, speaking from a totals perspective. So I think I like over. Again, didn't play it, but I think I'm going to be there. So for those watching, if you like it, can almost be certain I'm going to be there in some capacity with over in that contest.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I know the Thunder were playing some good defense over the last couple of games. It has kind of dropped off. They still rank number 7 defensively in the league so far this year. But like you say, the pace, they're running at a fast pace. Obviously, they're running like a bunch of small ball out there. And I feel like them and the Pistons are somewhat the same type of team. Obviously, the Thunder are further on in their rebuild and still have a ton of draft picks. You like SJ is absolutely balling over there, and they're running the 6th fastest pace as well over there, Rob. So like you said, the Pistons, this could be a game where the Pistons maybe offense kind of breaks out here versus a little smaller Thunder team, and we know the Thunder are going to get their points as well. It's a good look there, Rob. It's not obviously you guys know I'm not a huge total better, but that's probably the best look in this game. Me personally, I would like to lean towards the Pistons here. It's an ugly play, home dog here. I know that the Thunder, this is only their second time laying points all season. They got it done the first game versus the Magic. That was at the house, though. Now they're on the road here, back-to-back road games as well, somewhat of a sandwich spot. Just played Milwaukee, and then on Wednesday they're going to play Milwaukee again. So in this particular spot, I know it sounds crazy, but Pistons coming off 3 straight losses to the Bucks, 2 games to the Bucks, and then the Cavs. Obviously, it's a step down in competition. So just look at this real quick, Rob. Atlanta, 2 straight games. Then Golden State. They win Golden State, they're not really top tier right now, but still Golden State. Bucks twice, and then Cleveland. You've had 6 straight games versus top tier playoff game teams. Now you're going up against the Thunder. So it looks super easy to take the Thunder. They could be the right side, guys. Don't let me talk you off if you like it. But me personally, Pistons money line is the only way that I'd look in this game. I do feel like it's a winnable game for them. But obviously the Thunder have been playing very well. Can talk you off whichever way you'd like to go there. Heavy lean Pistons for me. Let's go over here to the streets of Indiana real quick, Rob. We got the Pacers getting 5.5 points versus the Pelicans. Pelicans playing a ton of games here lately. I was just trying to explain to people over my first show. That's why this line is so low. Pelicans open up at -6 down to 5.5. It kind of makes you scratch your head against this Pacers team, right, Rob?
Yeah, because it used to be automatic, Jay. It's not so much, and I'm not going back that far in recent history, maybe 3 years and beyond that, where you could take a Western Conference team and play them against an Eastern Conference team and just wake up and cash your ticket. It's not that way anymore. The Eastern Conference over the last 3 years has really gotten a lot stronger from top to bottom, or at least from top to mid-tier, right? They're playoff style teams. Still, I think there's a severe talent gap between these two teams. What's interesting about New Orleans, Jay, and maybe it's because they just have been somewhat injured first few games here, but defensively, I don't know if they're not exerting themselves on defense, but I thought they would be a better defensive team than what they are. They're 7-2 to the over. Their games are scoring an absurd amount of points, and that fits right into what the Pacers want to do. Pacers want to get up and down, score 125, hope they can hold you to 123 and cash a ticket. Or put a W in the column. For us, it's cash a ticket. I think total here is probably too low based upon what I'm seeing out of New Orleans so far this year. They have been able to get to 111 points or better in every single game this year. Every game, New Orleans. And remember, they've been without some guys in a few of those games as well. You talked about level of competition. They, too, have been up against some pretty stiff competition over the course of their last 6 games. If you take the Lakers out, the other 5 are playoff teams that they faced. They've scored on them. They've allowed points. But this, to me, step down in class. I'll leave people with a choice here. If you're going to play side, I think New Orleans is the right side. The price is too low. But for me, I'm more inclined to play up and over the total. Indiana's always a nice first half over play, but I think I would prefer full game.
Yeah, that's a good point there, man. Yeah, me personally, obviously the Pelicans are the much better team, but just real quick, they're coming off 2 overtime games in their last 3 games. That was third game in 4 nights as well. This will be their 4th game in 6 nights as well. They've been traveling all over the place. They were at Phoenix, then LA, back to back games, then at home versus Golden State. Then you head out on the road the next day for Atlanta. That game goes to overtime as well. So these guys have been playing a ton of minutes. They're still light years better than the Pacers. I don't want to be in this game versus the team that loves to run a gun up and down the floor, and you don't have the rest advantage and land points on the road. So the Pelicans should be able to get it done. The way I look at the game, if they're going to go out here and smack them, they're going to start out early, maybe try to implement more of their pace in the game, which could still be faster, but light years better defensive team. They have a lot better bench as well. The Pelicans do a lot better young guys. They just got to come to play here and not really look past this team. So if I'm betting this game, it's Pelicans first quarter, first half before the fatigue really starts to catch up to them. Hopefully they're up by 20 points or something at the half, and you don't have to sweat that full game bet. But I just hope you understand why I'm not on the Pelicans full game here today, my guys. It's mainly they're at a huge rest advantage. And just last up, the Pacers, they played a game on October 31st against the Nets. And then their next game was on the 4th, and they hadn't played a game since. So basically only one game over a span of a week or 6 days, where the Pelicans, this will be their 4th game or over this span. So huge rest advantage for the Pacers there, but still Pelicans first quarter, first half are nothing for me there. Rob, let's go over here close by you here. We got going to the streets of Philadelphia here. We got the Sixers getting 2.5 points versus the Phoenix Suns here, Rob. Suns have been absolutely balling. They're on a tear right now, right? The Sixers are somewhat struggling, lost 2 straight games. What are we doing this game?
Well, it's interesting because we don't know yet about Joel Embiid, right? Still a question mark. I live right here outside, 35 minutes outside of Philadelphia. Yeah. I've been trying to get onto this all morning long with shoot around and whatnot and just see. However, Jay, even if he were to go, I do wonder about Philadelphia. This James Harden situation is going to be tough for them to handle. DeAnthony Melton's a good reserve. Mm-hmm. And probably one of the better reserve guards in the league, but he takes over full-time point guard duties. And it's not the same getting the offense into what the offense is with DeAnthony Melton. We saw it the other night against the Knicks. Down the stretch, Philadelphia couldn't get a bucket, and they wind up losing that game, I think 106-103, lower scoring. Mm-hmm. But then when I look at the other side, it's not like injury isn't hurting them either. Cam Johnson in for surgery. Cam Payne maybe not playing, 2 important scorers for the Phoenix Suns. Mm-hmm. The whole thing leads me to believe that this is an underplay. The people might have got it right with the money early, 217 down to 214.5. It just looks like more of a slower defensive battle. Mm-hmm. When Phoenix has put their mind to it, Jay, when I've watched them this year, when they put their mind to it, they've looked like the defensive team they were 2 years ago. Last year, they sort of laxed a little bit on defense, but 2 years ago, Monty Williams took this team over and lived by that motto or mantra, be a pest on every possession. I've seen stretches where they really, really look like that, where they get up on people and they start playing defense again. I think that probably happens here tonight in a West versus East battle of elites. Whether or not, certain guys aren't on the floor, it's still a battle of elites. I think I'm going to lean under 214.5 in this game. Money's come towards Phoenix. If Cam Payne plays, that probably helps them. But if Embiid plays, that certainly helps Philly.
I don't see why Embiid shouldn't play here, in all honesty here, Rob. He went through shoot around. He practiced in full yesterday. Get your big ass out there on the floor. You've missed a few games. This is an NBA TV game as well, Rob. Remember, these are the type of games that Embiid really wants to show up for in front of the whole world. I can tell you something, man. Nobody's looking at this, man. I mean, glad this doesn't mean that it's going to translate to a win, guys. But we can look at the numbers, right? And this line looks somewhat short for Phoenix. I can tell you why. This is their first game on the East Coast all year, and it's kind of crazy because even something that it even made me feel even better when Steve Kerr said, "Hey, sometimes when you go to the East Coast, it can kind of be a little bit of adjustment period." I already know that, but it's even better me hearing it come out of the coach's mouth. This is somebody I don't see anybody talking about these type of things, but it's something I look at. I know people look at it in football, but it's even bigger in basketball. Yeah. These two teams, when teams play literally every other day, it's still a third game in 4 nights for the Suns as well. But they just came off a 6-game homestand, guys. So first off, I like the fact the team that's been at the house comfortable shooting in the same gym, they go on the road for the first time. I like that. I like the West Coast team going to the East Coast for the first time this season. That's a fade spot here as well. I think that the Suns will drop this game. I'm on Sixers first half here. And they already had a game. They had a game under their belt without Harden. So at least it's not totally new to them. They were up in that game versus the Knicks, lost it in the fourth quarter. This is their third straight home game. So the Sixers hadn't had to travel anywhere. They're rested, and Embiid should be good. Off 2 straight home losses as well. This is must-win Jay spot right here, man. I don't care. It's early season, but still. Bounce back, Jay. Must-win Jay. I'm on Sixers first half money line. You can get plus 120 from plus 110 to plus 120, whichever one I like it. And I'm also on Sixers full game here, plus the 2.5. I think they beat the Suns outright in this one. I actually think they're going to break out here offensively. 2 really good defensive teams. I couldn't talk you off of that under there, Rob. That was a good look with that under, because the way I'm looking at it, I think the Sixers, they have some defenders as well to go up against the Suns. The Suns have some really good defenders as well, but I think the Sixers get it done in this one. NBA TV game. Don't be surprised if the Suns look a little off to start this game, my guys. Anything's possible. Suns could still get it done. They're a great team, right? And coached well as well. They definitely have the coaching advantage, but I'm banking on them going 4 hours out of their comfort zone. You see what I'm saying? Give me the Sixers in that one early and often, Rob. What do you think about that angle real quick?
Yeah, that angle, Jay, it's great that you bring that up, because not only do we look at it and it's incorporated into people's handicaps in football constantly, West Coast to East Coast. Oh my God, the West Coast team is going to be 3 hours behind. They're going to be tired. In baseball, when they're playing every day, a team flies from a night game on the East to, say, San Francisco in the West, plays the next day. People look at that, but you're right. In basketball, and myself included, when we analyze, we don't generally bring that up. They're still athletes. They're still humans on a plane, just the same as baseball and football players are. So a good look by you there. That certainly should be considered when handicapping this stuff.
And I'm just trying to teach people just how I look at something. It's something that I've learned over the past couple of years as well. It doesn't always translate to a win, but it's definitely something that should be in the handicapping. And I don't think a lot of people look at it, my guys. So we always trying to teach here, always trying to learn every single day. I always talk about just having open ears, man, wanting to learn. You see what I'm saying? Let's go over here to the streets of Atlanta here, Rob, where we got the Hawks getting 4 points versus the red hot Bucks. Rob, what are we doing? I mean, they're 9-0 straight up, 8-1 against the spread. How do we find a spot to bet against this team, man? They're rolling right now.
I don't do it here. I don't do it here. Couple of reasons why, Jay. First off, when you're talking about the Hawks, you want to contain their backcourt because they're scoring top heavy with that backcourt. And when you talk about Drew Holiday and the defense that Milwaukee brings, it just makes life difficult for the guards for Atlanta. And if they're never going to be stopped, right? You don't stop DeJounte Murray and Trae Young cold unless they just have a bad shooting night, but you can't contain them and make life difficult for the rest of the team's offense. I think Milwaukee can do that. The second thing I don't like about the Hawks is this bench scoring has not been productive all season long. I think when UI and Ski went through our NBA team previews, I think I remember us hitting on the bench of Atlanta maybe being a sore spot for this team. Right now, from numbers I pulled this morning, they're 24th in the NBA in bench scoring. And Milwaukee, despite the fact that they're without Connaughton, despite the fact that they're without Middleton, despite the fact that Joe Ingles probably doesn't even get to play for them until, God, wait till after January 1st when they have all these guys who can launch. They still put out there a productive bench. So I understand why this line moved. I'm thankful I got in a little bit earlier, but I did play Milwaukee. I'm pretty sure that Milwaukee considers Atlanta a competitive playoff team, a team that they want to go play against to make sure, we're Milwaukee, you're Atlanta, that type of thing. I don't like to call them statement games, but I do think that NBA teams get up for certain types of games, this being one of those. So I'm on Milwaukee. I didn't play the total either way, but this side to me, like I said, I got a little bit better price, 3 rather than 4. Still, I would recommend laying 4. I just think that Milwaukee, the style that they play, doesn't suit Atlanta well. I know Atlanta's great at the house, but I prefer the Bucks.
Yeah, that's a good point there. And I think that's a good point because this is in theory a revenge spot as well. I know the Hawks went up there and faced the Bucks. I believe that was a back-to-back as well. And obviously they couldn't get it done. They didn't have the rest advantage. I mean, it was like a long road trip as well. Maybe like the last game of a long road trip, 4th or 5th game. So in theory, the Hawks are set up a little bit better to cover this game. I'm not in a hurry to bet against the Bucks right there, Rob. You made some great points. I mean, offensively and defensively, there's more balance than anybody right now. We know that at some point it's going to come. They're not going undefeated forever. They're not going 82-0, right? So at some point they're going to lose a game. It's a tough game for them. It's not something I bet. I'm with you. I'm not surprised that the money's come on Milwaukee, but personally, I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks did get it done. This is what I don't like about the Hawks. I don't like their bench. They're not deep enough for me. Starting five, they can really hang with any team in the league. It's when those other guys start to come in. But maybe the Holiday brothers have some deep in their bag here going up against Drew Holiday, right? Both the Holiday brothers are on the Hawks. You got the big brother on the Bucks over there. It's a tough game. I'll watch it. Maybe make a live bet here. It's a tough game for me, man. I understand the Bucks, and I'm not betting against them, but this is a game I'm staying off. I see it as a toss-up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks caught their wind here at the house. I remember I was talking last week. I was like, when the Hawks get the house, they might go on a little streak, man. It's a tough game for me here. These two teams have a lot of history as well. Let's go over here to the streets of Miami real quick, Rob. We got the Heat laying 8 points versus the Blazers here, right? Jimmy Butler, out a couple of games, he should be back here. In theory, I don't think he's on the injury report, right, Rob? But we know who is on the injury report. That's Anthony Simons and Damian Lillard in this one, Rob. What do we do with this game?
Yeah, Miami's somewhat of a disappointment early on, Jay, but that doesn't mean they can't turn it on, especially against this team. You talked about it. Again, we were just talking about a scoring-heavy backcourt with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, and this is maybe even heavier. Where Portland is concerned. When Lillard and Simons are on the floor, that team's just very, very dangerous. When they're not on the floor, not as dangerous. The one thing I didn't like, and will clear up during the day, is that all of a sudden Tyler Hero had 29 the other day. Now he shows up on the injury report as questionable. This guy shows up on the injury report way too much. But if he's able to go, I don't see why Miami can't put together one solid game here against a team that really doesn't have the size, the shooting without those two guys, the defensive ability, the difference, the disparity in defensive ability between or capability between the Heat and the Blazers is, as wide as the Grand Canyon. So I would prefer Miami. I'd love to have Tyler Hero in this game. But again, I don't have that info yet. For now, I'll say Miami. But if Hero goes, I think laying 8 is probably a pretty good way to go.
Yeah, that's a good point there. They did already beat the Blazers earlier this year as well. I believe they still had Dame in that one, but regardless here, man, it's a tough game. I do lean the Blazers here. They are going from West Coast to East in this one, but it's a little bit different because they're catching points in multiple possessions as well. But it's not a game that I'm on, but I would lean to, obviously you need Dame. I like Dame and Simons in there, to be honest with you. If both of those play, you might be able to get there, man. The Heat, like you said, they started out real lackluster. The offense is not clicking right now. It's not clicking whatsoever. If he rolls out, that's going to be a huge loss, in my opinion, to an offense that's not already, like I said, clicking. So I lean Blazers here. It's too many question marks. We probably could have went without talking about this, especially with all the question marks. You got to wait till last minute to bet this one. My personal lean, Blazers. Simons or Dame or both, I might sprinkle some on Blazers there. Let's get over here to the streets of Chicago here, Rob. You got the Bulls laying 3 points versus the Toronto Raptors, back-to-back spot here. Someone like a playoff type of feel as well. I was watching the game last night. Raptors up, then Bulls kind of come back, still to lead. Then Raptors take it away. They end with it at the house. They had all the momentum. They were getting the calls, and the Bulls didn't have LaVine. What do you think here? LaVine should be coming back. Hopefully nobody else is ruled out, but with LaVine back, in my opinion, makes all the difference for this Bulls offense in this game.
I totally agree. And I think what they're doing with Zach LaVine, it's funny how they sort of skate around labeling things as rest anymore, right? I mean, because the NBA doesn't want you to rest people. They want you to, pretend there's an injury and call Zach. I think they call it knee management or something. They call that when you rest. But with him back in the lineup and in the back-to-back situation off a loss, I could only look Bulls. Lines going down from 4 to 3. See it. 3.5 out there, but mostly threes at this point in time. Still think the Bulls are the right side here. Fred VanVleet came back last night, and I think what he had 30 last night. It was a real good night for him. But again, I just don't see that happening back-to-back nights. Chicago, we've talked about it before. They've got the capability to match anybody point for point. Down low, Vucevic doesn't have the extreme advantage that he has against other teams. But I think just off of watching, like you said last night, they were in control of this for a little bit and then let it get away. At the house again, I'd have to say I'd lean Chicago. I have not bet the game, but I would lean Chicago to get the split out of this 2-game series.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I feel like that first half is even more of a spot where you got to come out, where you really want to come out hard as well. When you come out, when you lost and Bulls at the first half at the house as well, I believe they come out here and cover this first half. I got it at 1.5. It said basically -2. I actually bet -2. It's 1.5 out there. So I go official with the -1.5. But I like the Bulls in this one, the first half, Rob. And I couldn't talk you out full game as well. We got a question in the chat. This is a back-to-back. Do you think that obviously Levine comes back, helps the offense? He's saying, do you think, what are you thought, any thoughts on this total in this game?
Yeah, Star Child's with me, man. He usually likes a lot of overs, so I can speak his language here. Yeah, I would think that last night got 217 without Levine, Jay. So to get to 220.5 with Zach Levine, I would say you're looking for that update. And again, the problem is that if they announce him in, that 220.5 doesn't exist anymore. Now it's 223 or something. So you have to, with the NBA, we always have to do this project and guess and what we feel, read between the lines. I would say Zach Levine plays and you're getting the best of the number right now. So over 220.5, I could, if you like it, I would say go ahead and play it.
Yeah, so Zach Levine, I believe they already came out and said like that he's playing today. Obviously, he's not going to play many back-to-backs right now, but got basically kind of game time. He's expected to play today. I'm just hoping that at some point they don't start resting DeRozan like on the second half, like play Levine one or rest DeRozan the other one. That's what I'm hoping. Hopefully we get full squad, but Zach Levine should be in here. So if you like the over, you probably want to go ahead and take it now. I'd be very surprised if he didn't play in this game, guys. He sat out yesterday with the thought process he's going to play today, but I want to take Bulls full game -3 as well. I think this is a bounce back spot. I think they get it done. Last year, I know they didn't really beat great teams, but this year I do sense a little bit something different from the Bulls. They're playing a lot deeper. Their offense is a little bit better as well. So I lean Bulls full game as well. I think I might end up hopping on that one.
Can I say real quick, Jay, about the Bulls, the difference I think that we see in them, and I see it a little bit defensively, is because Patrick Williams didn't play at all last year. And with Patrick Williams back, and he was known at Arkansas as a defensive player. And so I think that helps a little bit. And, you know, the way they play offense, they don't need much. They just need a little bit better defense, which I think Billy Donovan's gotten out of them so far this year. So maybe it's a difference. Maybe it's not. It's just something I think I observe.
That's a good point. I think that's what I noticed as well. Guys like DeSumno playing better. Even DeRozan's giving a little bit more effort on defense. Patrick Williams is going to be a huge addition as well. Got some guys off the bench. I like it, Rob. Yeah, I might end up getting on Bulls -3. I'm already on first half, though, -1.5. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis real quick, Rob. We got the Grizzlies getting 3.5 points versus the Boston Celtics. Grizzlies coming off that back-to-back like you talked about yesterday. Can they get it done today versus Boston?
Yeah, Star Child, stay with me, buddy. I got an over for you here. I like Boston, Memphis over. I just talked about this on Wager Talk today. But, Jay, the matchups are really good here. You got 2 of the top 7 offensive efficiency teams in the NBA. Boston's number 1, Memphis number 7. But they're playing against 2 of the worst defensive efficiency teams. Boston and Memphis ranked 22 and 23. A little bit surprising because when you take the individuals on Boston, you think they're a real good defensive team. However, we talked about this again when we did previews a month ago. Without Robert Williams, that's just not the same defense at Boston. They've chosen to be a little more tempo team this without him than they were with him. If you just break it down to the 3-point matchup real quick here, Boston's 3-point offense been very good this year. 3rd in the league, 39% threes. Memphis's 3-point defense has not been very good. Boston should have an edge there. And if I flip it, believe it or not, the Memphis Grizzlies are 6th in the NBA in 3-point percentage shooting. They weren't a good 3-point percentage shooting last year. And last night they had a miserable night. So I'm looking for a little bounce back here. Last night, the starting unit goes 5 for 20 from 3, including 1 for 8 between Brooks and Morant. Those guys have to pick it up a little bit here. Boston, not defending the arc, 21st in the league in 3-point defense. Rebounding edge. We're going through some fundamentals here, but Memphis is 4th in the NBA in second chance points. And again, no Robert Williams. We have to like the advantage inside for Memphis to get their shot at second chance points. Boston's 21st in the league in second chance points allowed. But let's look at the back-to-back because we like to look at the rest stuff, right? But the Grizzlies have been in one back-to-back situation this year. That game was against the Mavs, and that game landed 233, which is
that's the
better
one that
than
got smoked, right? Yeah, I was on the Mavs and
233. But let's flip it and look at the Celtics. Twice this year, they've been the rested team playing a team on a back-to-back situation. First time was against Orlando. That game landed 246. Second time was just a few nights ago against the Knicks. That game landed 251. Those games are well over the 231 they're asking us for here. I really debated back and forth between playing first half over 117.5 or a full game 231. However, when you break down the Memphis Grizzlies, their second halves, Jay, are huge where point production is concerned. I think 6 of their games so far in the second half have hit 120 or better. Dang. So they're really a second half team, even, and I guess it's because they have the legs to go back to back as a young team. You don't really worry about them too much in a back to back situation, but all angles point to over here. So I played it full game over 231. On your show, we call that official. I can say that's official. I played that one over 230.
Official, like a referee blowing the whistle is what I like to say, man. Yeah, I'm leaning Celtics in that game. I think they match. I think it's a bad matchup as far as like the Grizzlies. Like you said, a lot of young guys. This is probably a matchup they like to have, the 3 guys that are out, especially like guys like Zaire Williamson and Triple J there. But like me personally, I lean Celtics -3.5. That's the only way that I'd play this game. I'd also look at, I'm with you right there on the over as well. This should be a fast-paced type of game. I'm looking at Celtics team total over. So that bodes well for your overs. Both teams might be able to get over their team total, but I know Celtics for sure. I see these guys running and gun tonight. They obviously have the rest advantage. No real look ahead. Celtics -3.5 is that seems like would be the spot here, in my opinion. I think the Grizzlies are due to take a step down, at least for one game. They might get smoked in this game. Celtics -3.5. That's the only way that I'd look at this one. Celtics team total over, full game over. That's what I'm leaning. Let's go over here to the streets of Minnesota real quick, Rob. I don't have much on this game. You got the Wolves laying 3 versus the Knicks. What do we do with this Wolves team? It does seem like they playing well without Gobert, though.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I skipped it. We see the number just as we're talking here, Jay. I saw a flash. Most of the screen universally went down to 2.5 on this game. Minnesota now a shorter favorite. So certainly there's injuries involved there. But I just, the Knicks, again, I'll say this about the Knicks. I don't know how Tom Thibodeau is the coach of this team with his philosophy on how to play basketball. His philosophy is from a defensive standpoint. The Knicks are the farthest thing from a good defensive team. And they're actually playing with some pace this year. And to me, though, this total was out of reach. I don't want to play this thing over. So I got no more to say. I won't waste any time on that game.
Man, forget this game, man. We know that the money's going to come again. So I guess Levine's questionable. Line's going down to 2 right now. So we see what happens, man. Maybe, Rob, if you see some what's out there, we know money's going to come on Toronto, but I don't know. It's still Bulls first half. I already bet that, and I'm still Bulls or nothing for me full game. It's definitely starting to get hit though so if you like the Raptors, you might want to go take them now. Yeah, I don't have much on that game. San Antonio goes to the streets of San Antonio. Got the Spurs getting 7.5 at the house versus the Nuggets in this one. Rob, how you looking at this one?
I'm just staring for you real quick. I see Kobe White listed out, but Zach LaVine, as of 3 minutes ago, still listed questionable. So.
That's cool.
We'll see how that goes. I see Kobe White. I see some.
They're probably just manipulating.
Yeah, and they bet it on guesswork, Jay. They don't even need an official out ruling. All they need is a questionable, and they'll go fly to it. Denver San Antonio is a back-to-back. Played a couple of nights ago, but played in Denver. Now they switch over to San Antonio. I'd have a hard time playing San Antonio right now simply because after the fast start, they've faded. When you looked at that roster to start the year, Jay, we thought, immediately, this is a good year to tank if you're San Antonio. However, Greg Popovich probably just refuses to tank, but it's just the team. I don't know. When you look at this accumulation of personnel, I don't know that it's going to be anything. I think the beginning of the year was a surprise. I'll put it that way. I don't think that's indicative of how good this team is going to be over the long haul. Maybe they caught some people off guard. Maybe they caught some teams out of shape. But lately, it's not been good for San Antonio, and it's getting better for Denver. They've gotten healthier. They're starting to play together. This is a team that's probably one of the 4 best in the West when everybody's right. And it looks like Michael Malone hasn't really had to chew them out lately, so it's getting right for Denver. I would probably be on that side, pushed from 6.5 to 7.5. I don't like the fact that San Antonio shows some capability at times of getting in the back door.
Right.
Down 12, 2 minutes left. They sneak in, they beat you. 7.5 is a big number. Jokic hasn't even, Jokic hasn't even dominated yet. And Denver's starting to play better. So it looks like a little more team concept here. They're helping him out. I like that. I'd probably play Denver if I had to play.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I don't have much on this game. Like I said, I'd probably go to the other side. That's why I'm not betting it, man. I just don't. Me personally, I don't trust the Nuggets in games where it's like it's not a big game, right? If they just beat them as well. Just the Nuggets. Once you figure out the type of team, it doesn't matter. Like you can really just bet them on situations because history repeats itself. And the Nuggets, they just don't seem to be getting up for some of these lower tier type of teams, right? So they already just smacked them by 25 points last game. It's like, why? It just what's motivation to smack them up here? I just feel like the Nuggets are a type of team. They got to get smacked in the mouth first for them to be like, okay, let's play here. They could go on the run. They're a really great offensive team. I just worry about their defense sometimes. So where you said the Spurs could possibly have a back door open, the Nuggets are going to leave it open. You see what I'm saying? Unless they're up by 20, 25 points, they're going to leave that back door open because they just go through spells where they don't want to play any defense, man. So it's a tough game for me. I'm not betting it. I would like to lean Spurs there, like especially +8, but I'm not betting. I also wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets smoked them again, my guys. And Rob made some good points. Spurs started out hot. We're going to see this with some teams like the Hornets. They started out hot, but now they're getting to where they're supposed to be, my guys, which is trash. But let's go over here to the streets of Dallas here, Rob. We got the Mavs laying 6.5. Down to 6 now for the Nets here with Simmons going to play 20 minutes. I was looking at the Nets here, Rob. I think the Nets have sort of found something without Kyrie. They're actually look like they're caring about playing basketball, actually invested. They got a new coach over there. I think it's buy on right now for the Nets, and I'm not fading them. I love my Mavs here, but I would only look towards the Nets plus the 6.5 or plus the 6 here, Rob.
First thing that came to mind, I'm going to ask you. I'll be host, you be analyst for a minute here. Ben Simmons plays. Do they stick him on Luka tonight?
You got to try to. He's only playing 20 minutes, but you got to try to put him on Luka. But the way that they're playing is Luka pounding the ball, and then they wait to, you know what I'm saying? So you got to guard the 3-point line. But, yeah, you got to try to put Simmons on Luka. He's definitely taller. He could maybe disrupt him a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised Nets win this game, Rob.
Yeah, and just to that point, Jay, I would assume that they would do so too. I mean, Luka's dominated everybody so far, right? 8 straight 30-plus point games, going for more records each and every night. He's breaking records. But again, to your point, they've got all this new talent. I won't say new because Tim Hardaway's not new, but Tim Hardaway Jr. is back with the team, and you've got Christian Wood and all these guys that can help out. And it just seems like it's Luka and the rest again. It doesn't seem like that it's any type of team concept here. I've heard reports and read reports that coaches of other teams are choosing to let Luka have his and keep other people quiet, which could be a strategy for all I know. And we'll see if Jacques Vaughn goes with the same strategy. But to follow up on what you said about the Nets look like they've got some heart all of a sudden, I think that goes right with Jacques Vaughn. I mean, when they played for Jacques Vaughn in the bubble, they played hard, and that was the team. Remember, Jay, that was a team that was built on little guys, right? Spencer Dinwiddie was a member of the Nets back then. Karis LeVert, all these little guards. And I think Jared Allen was their center, but they were a tiny team. But they played hard. They won a lot of games for him, and maybe they just get, maybe he just gets through better than Steve Kerr did. After all, Steve Kerr is the guy who went into Sean Mark's office and said they're not responding to me. They've had some rest. So, yeah, I could be with you here. +6 looks like a lot. If Ben Simmons for his 20 minutes can even put a dent, some kind of dent in Luka's production offensively, then +6 looks big.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. My guys in the chat, man, pointing out that every time you come on the show, the Mavs win, and they're exactly right. Mavs usually cash when Rob comes on the show. That's a good point. But with this revenge spot, Nets playing well, I hope you guys, I've been watching the Nets. I sense something different from them. Let's just put it that way, my guys. I know Kyrie had 39 points in the last game that they took Dallas to overtime, but remember that those are back-to-back for the Nets. There was a fade at the house. They still had Nash, all that shit. This time around, like you said, I don't know if Vaughn really has them playing right or what he told them or if he told KD or something, but he has a grip on this team. Nets are playing some of their best basketball. It's the early season, but they're in a groove right now, and I'm not betting against them. So Nets plus a 6, the only way I can look. Got 3 more games here, Rob. Let's go to the streets of Golden State here. We got the Warriors laying 7.5 versus the Kings here, coming off that overtime win versus the Magic. Like anything here?
Yeah, and real quick, I'll just backtrack real quick. Cam Thomas was buried on the bench under Steve Nash. He scored every single night. Seth Curry's back. Eventually, Joe Harris is going to shoot. That's a team that's got a lot of offense, even if Kyrie is out. To this game, Jay, I don't know how you don't do anything but play Golden State over until they figure out when they're going to turn on the switch and decide to play defense, because they don't want to play defense whatsoever. I fell for it last week. Steph Curry said we have to start correcting things. And what they do, they went out and they gave up 77 in the second half to Orlando. That's not correcting anything. And the next night, they all just sat and rested. I don't know. Sacramento, I'll say this. To me, Sacramento's an under-the-radar team right now. I think they're playing really, really well. I like what they have going on there. To me, they can get to 118, 116, 118 against Golden State if Golden State's going to be lackluster and just choose to outscore them. So total's going from 230. I'm staring right now to 234.5, 235 in some spots. I agree with it. I would look either Sacramento or total over in that game because it just looks like a score fest.
No, that's a good point as well. Kings are nothing for me, and you get a revenge spot as well. They were getting blown out by 30. Golden State, I believe it was like the second game of the season. They came all the way back in the first quarter, outscored them like 31-17 to only lose that game by 5. That speaks to the Warriors not playing any defense well. Kings coming off a huge win where De'Aaron Fox obviously hit their game winner in overtime. I don't like the fact that they spent 3 days on the East Coast and now they have to come back home to the West Coast to get back acclimated. But like you said, I'm not laying points with the Warriors here. They're coming back to the house as well off of a 5-game road trip. They do have the rest advantage, but they're just not playing championship style basketball right now. It could be, Rob, where they're just kind of going through this early season, just kind of treating it like preseason, and they know that it is like later in the season, that's when they really need to catch their groove. So with lean Kings, but I'm not betting it, could definitely see the over. Kings are definitely going to push the pace. Warriors are going to score. They're going to be pissed off offensively, but can they do something defensively? It remains to be seen, my guys. Next game, 2 more games. We're going to the streets of Utah here, Rob. Got the Jazz laying 5 points. The Jazz been balling, man. You got to give them credit, Rob, because I know I did. I trashed this team. They're 4-0 at the house. They're 7-3 against the spread this year. 8-3 straight up. This team is absolutely balling here. Obviously, the Lakers 0-3 on the road, only 2-7 straight up and against the spread. Can the Lakers get it done here? Or do the Jazz continue to mow teams down here, Rob?
The Lakers did what the Lakers do last night. Yesterday afternoon, I think they played 8 of 27, 29% from 3-point range. I don't have the box in front of me right now. I should have it in front of me, but I don't. But LeBron was 0 for 12 from 3-point range the 2 games prior to yesterday. They can't shoot. We laughed at Ski that day. We did the Lakers preview. Dude, they can't shoot, and they just continue to shoot these lousy percentages. You know who can shoot? Utah. They're a bunch of scorers. And a bunch of guys who seem, Jay, like they, even though they're coming from all different teams and angles, they look like they want to play with each other. They're both on back-to-back, so there's no real rest advantage here. Both teams are on back-to-backs. But to me, Utah, when you watch them, looks like they've got fresher legs. Obviously, The Lakers are an older team, so I think Utah's the only way you can look.
Yeah, and my guys coming through with some inside info. Well, not inside info. Obviously, it's out to everybody right now, but breaking info. LeBron James and Lonnie Walker are out in this game, my guys. So I'm seeing it go up to 6. 99% of the money on the Jazz here.
Why not 100?
I hate to be that guy, but what happens when big guys are ruled out? I'm not saying that take the Lakers here, but what does history tell us? This is a new age NBA, and I'm starting to get into the psychology of these players. These are younger players now. It's a different day and age in the whole world. They come in here and think that the game is easy. So it's going up to 7.5 now. Maybe the Jazz aren't necessarily prone to that, but when you see top guys out on the other side, this is just in the NBA in general, Either you take the team that's where the guys are out or you stay off the game. I'm just trying to help, guys. I'm just trying to help. You do what you want. I'm not saying the Lakers are the right side, but we see this literally time and time again. Big players out, everybody hop on this one side, other team cashes. Let's see what happens. Let's go over here to the streets of LA here, man. We got the Clippers getting 4 points. They just lost last night to the Utah Jazz. Super late game. That game ended late as hell, man, as well. So the Cavs, they played an early game yesterday. They do have somewhat of the few hours of rest advantage in this one. Clippers coming off their late night game. What are we doing in this one? The Cavs are absolutely steamrolling everybody right now, Rob. I'm not betting against them. I tell you that right now. A lot of people on the Cavs today. Do you like it?
Yeah, it used to be, when the visitor comes in and plays the LA teams on back-to-backs, that, after you play the first one, the nightlife is so – they take such advantage of the nightlife that you play against them the next day. However, this Cavalier team just looks like they're on a little bit of a mission here. Garland and Mitchell both came back into the lineup. They had played without them, looked like they never left the lineup really for those 1 or 2 games. The Clippers, for me, Jay, I got a stop sign on the Clippers, a fade sign until further notice. They just don't look good at all. Paul George had 34 again yesterday. But as far as offense goes with this team, I don't know what it is, but they're not right. They're just not right at this point in time. You and I have talked about it before. Ty Lue's a good coach. The personnel's good, but Kawhi's not in. I just don't know what the answers are. I wish I did, because I could explain them to people what the answers are. But I know this: their results are horrendous, and the other side's results are really good at this point in time. I think Cleveland's probably a team geared up to go get a sweep. Again, you mentioned the rest. No real advantage here other than one played in the afternoon, one played at night. Right. It's like the Cavaliers better at this point in time in all shapes and forms, whether it be interior, perimeter, defense, offense. Cavs for me are nothing right now. I can't play the Clippers at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not looking at an under here. We know that the Cavs are really going to play great defense, right? Now, if you look at the Clippers, they're not they're a perfect under team. I believe guys in the chat were saying that the Clippers are 9-1 on the under in this one so far to this year. So the Clippers are a perfect recipe for an under. They play really great defense. All 5 positions can switch, right? But the offense is absolutely trash right now. And John Wall's not playing, and Reggie Jackson got hurt last night. So you might be without both your point guards. It's just a risk. Like, I don't play a lot of totals, and I'm probably not playing this one, but this, I believe, it come down from 220 all the way down to 213. This is an under type of spot here, my guys. It's the only way I could look at it. I look at the under in this one, Rob. But now, man, let's get over here to some free picks, my guys. Let's go over here to some free picks here, Rob. What you liking? Well, first, let the people know how you doing over at Wager Talk and any free picks for tonight's card, my brother.
Yeah, so we'll get there real quick, Jay. It's always $9 Monday, seemingly, when I'm on the show, because I do Monday shows with you. So $9 Monday, wagertalk.com. For me, my $9 play tonight happens to come from the NFL matchup between the Ravens and the Saints. So if you're interested in Monday Night Football, go on over to wagertalk.com. You can pick that up over there. You can also drop your email address in, and for free, have access to all the video work done by all the handicappers over there each and every week. Right now, starting today, even covering college basketball. So it doesn't matter what you're a fan of. If you're a fan of college football, NFL football, NBA basketball, college basketball, NHL hockey, there's a video for you that analyzes the game you're interested in. Right? Once again, just drop your email address, wagertalk.com. For free plays, Jay, I'm going to go back to one that I emphasized here that would be official, and that's the total in the Boston game against the Memphis Grizzlies. To add to what I said earlier, I'm not going to repeat myself here, but Teddy actually helped me out earlier today when I was on the show. Boston and Memphis, the last 4 times they've played, all 4 games have gone over by at least 15 points against the closing line. They just play fast-paced basketball, offensive basketball. I think that happens here again tonight. I preferred to play full game, wouldn't talk you off first half, but over 231, Boston and Memphis.
I like it. Yeah, I couldn't talk you off there, man. That should be a super fast-paced game as well, man. Just real quick, Brian in the chat, say, I just ordered a shirt, man. Can't wait to put it on this cash. The good luck shirt, man. I appreciate you, Brian. I believe that was you that got that Jay and Shark shirt. $10 off, man. They only $15, and you get a free pair of shades as well, man. So that's damn near free, my guys. $15. You can use promo code WIN10 over at the website, jmoneyismoney.com. Also, Us Against the Bookies. Let's get some cash and Smack City shirts, all $10 off. All come with a free pair of shades. shades. Y'all help me get rid of them, man. Got like 12 boxes of shirts I need to get rid of before I move, my guys. So y'all can't help me blowout sale on these shirts, man. Get up out of here. Yeah, for me, I love to play, Rob, and I lean Celtics in that game. Celtics team total over for me. 3 official plays, man. I'm going Sixers first half money line, plus 110, plus 115. Sixers full game as well, plus 2.5, and I'm on Bulls first half as well. I fully expect Levine to be in this game. Those are my 3 plays. If you like them, let's cash. If you tell them, if you don't like them, go with your good, my guys. I always say that bet whatever you really love. That's what you're going to sleep better with at night, win or lose, you know what I'm saying, or draw, my guys. It's my guy, Rob Veno, on the show. We cash on Mondays. I don't know if y'all know, man, but we cash tickets on Mondays when Rob comes on the show. Y'all go follow him on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports. You can follow me as well at JMoneyIsMoney. Go check him out, wagertalk.com. He does college basketball. He does football, he does NBA, everything over there, man. My guy Rob, go check him out at wagertalk.com. It's Us Against The Bookies. Let's get some cash, my guys. We're out, back on Wednesday. We will win.